Keshavan had just raised, and it's part 2 of the story that we're bringing to you tonight. You remember the brazen victimization of IAS officer Durga Shakti Nagpal? Well, the victimization of state bureaucrats actually continues. This time it's an officer who has dared to go slow in the building of a swimming pool in Mulayam Singh's native Saifai.
After Durga Shakti Nagpal, now there is furor over the suspension of another IAS officer by the UP government. IAS officer Akhilesh Singh retires next month and has been suspended for causing delay in the construction of a swimming pool complex in Mulayam Singh Yadav's native village of Saifai. Akhilesh Singh is a senior bureaucrat who has been suspended for 2 months. Now questions are being raised over whether his suspension has anything to do with his proximity to BSP leaders.
इसके पहले भी एक आईएएस को हम लोगों ने सस्पेंड किया था, तब भी मीडिया ने बड़ा हाईलाइट किया था, जबकि वो आईएएस अधिकारी ने कोई आपत्ति नहीं। मैं नहीं समझ पाता हूँ कि जब कोई आपत्ति नहीं करता तो मीडिया क्यों तीसरी टांग बन जाता है, क्यों आपत्ति करने लगता है। जिसको दुख हो वो आपत्ति करे तो समझ भी आता है। आईएएस अधिकारी या अन्य अधिकारियों का तबादला रूटीन प्रक्रिया हो।
Akhilesh Singh was found guilty of irregularities and gross negligence. He allegedly held back payments to government and private agencies that led to delays in the construction of the complex housing the world-class all-weather pool. While it is no surprise that Akhilesh Singh has chosen silence, a storm has now broken out over bureaucrats being hounded in Akhilesh Pradesh.
So it's unfortunate that rather than looking into affairs which directly hit the common man, they are going ahead for these various projects which definitely don't make a difference to the people.
ये पब्लिक मनी का दुरुपयोग है ना, और अगर कोई ऑफिसर ने उस पर सवाल उठाया तो उसको आप तबादला कर दीजिएगा या सस्पेंड कर दीजिएगा। इसी को कहते हैं, जैसे कि हमने कहा ना, इसी को कहते हैं कुप्रशासन।
It is the same Saifai where they have built a huge airport with public resources which they are utilizing themselves. They have also built a lion safari. This is a very old feudal attitude.
But the bureaucracy has done a great injustice to the Saifai, because the all-season swimming pool, it's a must. That is another thing, that the people are dying in cold some 300 kilometers away from Saifai.
Well, we've seen what happened in the case of suspended IAS officer Durga Shakti Nagpal. Shailesh Kumar Singh's colleagues are comparing his suspension with the suspension of Durga Shakti because they say there have been plentiful of cases where government officers have been found guilty of dereliction of duty, but none of these officers had to face such strict action from the state government. But because in this case, the construction work, the job at hand that Shailesh Kumar Singh had pertained to Chief Minister's native village, and therefore such strict action, such unwarranted action has been taken against him. Well, as far as Shailesh Kumar Singh is concerned, he did speak to us over the phone. He is obviously disappointed at the decision of the state government. He is due to retire in late January, but he says, he will have to follow through and go through the entire procedure before perhaps the state government chooses to revoke his suspension. With camera person Harish Kanpal.